Am I the a-hole for telling my mom the exact moment I lost all love and respect for her? I, 21 male, live with my older sister, 23, and my two younger sisters, 17 and 15. My older sister currently has legal custody over our two younger sisters, and at one point even had legal custody over me when I was still a minor. She basically gained custody of us all when she was 19 because our mom was an addict. My mom is currently going through end-stage kidney failure, assumingly because all of those years of not taking care of herself caught up to her. When she first started going to dialysis about 5 months ago, she put me down as her emergency contact. And at first, I just sucked it up and dealt with it because she doesn't have anyone else in this part of the country. And my older sister doesn't talk to her for reasons you can't imagine. However, yesterday when the clinic contacted me and I had to pick her up, I informed her that she needed to put someone else down because I wouldn't be answering those calls anymore, after she had her family members leave threatening messages to my older sister. This angered her, and she started going on about why I didn't love her anymore and when I stopped loving her. So I told her the exact moment I stopped loving her and respecting her was when I was 13. I had just entered high school. I was big into football and the coach at the time was brutal. He was making us practice 2 times a day, at 5 a.m. and after school. I told her how I woke up one morning, and she passed out on the couch off of whatever substance she was using at the time, and my older sister, only 15 at a time, was freaking out because we had no food. We never had any food. She was freaking out thinking I was going to pass out from all of that practice and barely eating. I tried to assure her that I would be fine, but she went into that kitchen, grabbed the only things we had, which were 2-day-old almost burnt rice, salt, a can of green beans, and half a chicken breast, and made me and our siblings an entire fried rice meal. She made sure I ate that morning, and I ate that meal on my way to practice crying. She had to stay home from school that day like she did most days, to send younger sister off to school and to be there to pick them up. When I got home from school that day, my sister was in the kitchen cooking dinner, and there were some groceries in the fridge that she brought with the money that she got from selling her rings that our grandma gave her to some sketchy guy that used to hang out at the convenience store, all while mom remained high and passed out. I told her that's when all love and respect for her vanished. She cried and told me that I was evil, that I'm having a moral conflict because I'm wondering if I should have been softer with her. Am I the a-hole? Info: my dad passed away of an overdose when I was 8, so he was really no better than my mom. Not the a-hole. You aren't evil. Your mother's neglect was. I wouldn't be answering those calls anymore after she had her family members leave threatening messages to my older sister. Time to go no contact with your mother and these family members. Good luck. Also, OP, I know there is some pressure because she's dying, but she left your life and role as a parent a long time ago. Do not feel guilt of any sort for cutting contact at this time. You can continue to make peace with what role she played in your life on your own. You do not need to subject yourself to more of it. Release yourself from that responsibility. Agreed. If she wants you to be at her deathbed but she never apologizes, don't go. You're letting her trample all over you one last time in her own way. You're letting them get their say on the way out without ever showing contrition. Someone here recommended the book Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, and it helped me. Try it. You have a lot of resentment. Write a letter to your mom and your dad if he's around, with all your feelings in it, and then burn it for catharsis. As you watch the flames, focus on letting go of that hurt and resentment. Thank you for the recommendation. I'll definitely look into getting that book. As for our dad, he passed away of an overdose when I was 8. In this vein, I've found specific support groups online to be really helpful. General subs like this are a good gut check, but for the really specific stuff and having a safe place to voice your feelings, as a good community will have extremely no-nonsense and active mods, is huge. Just do a vibe check first. Some keywords would be adult children of addicts, and definitely read up on sidebars/intros to see if a particular place resonates with you and your experiences. Everyone's situation is a little different, and that kind of neglect will impact people in different ways even within the same family. Find a group that offers the support that you need. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling someone they're selfish for asking a 22-year-old to become a child's guardian? My 22 female boyfriend Malcolm, 22 male, has a half-sister Elena, 12 female. They have the same dad, and he's not involved in their lives. Their moms became close friends and they were raised seeing one another, but Malcolm's mom moved abroad a couple of years ago. Elena's mom, Sandra, was diagnosed with cancer last year. She went through treatment, but it's been determined that there's nothing they can do but make her comfortable, and Sandra will pass sometime this year. She has no family, so Malcolm has spent a lot of time helping care for Elena, driving her to school, making the meals, etc. Recently, Malcolm sat me down. He said that Sandra asked to speak to him. She said she understood if the answer was no, but asked for him to take on custody of Elena, sooner rather than later. That way, she could adjust to him being her guardian before she passes. Malcolm would move in with them. Sandra had a sizable life insurance policy and an account to help him care for Elena. To my surprise, he agreed to all of this without consulting me. I pointed this out, and he said we've only been together 6 months, so I asked if he didn't feel too young for all this. He said sort of, but he'd do it for Elena. Without further discussion, he subleased his apartment and moved in with Sandra and Elena. Saturday, I stopped by to pick up Malcolm for lunch. He hadn't returned from work yet, so I was waiting with Sandra. We were making small talk, and she mentioned how grateful she was for Malcolm and that he was a sweet boy. I asked if he was really her only option. I mentioned his mom, and Sandra said Elena's losing enough. She doesn't want to force her to move abroad on top of everything. She also doesn't feel right asking Malcolm's mom to move back. I said I found the whole thing a little selfish. Malcolm is only 22. He shouldn't be tied down raising a child. Sandra got defensive and said she wished she didn't have to ask him. Plus, he said yes. I asked what else was he supposed to say. Sandra told me I was upsetting her and asked me to leave. Malcolm called me later, screaming at me. He said that I upset Sandra. I said I was trying to defend him and point out options she may not have thought of. Malcolm told me to butt out and to get on board with this or walk away, and hasn't spoken to me since. I saw Elena at the mall on Sunday and she just ignored me. My mom told me I screwed up big time. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. I swear to God, if I see one anti-A on this thread, I lose my faith in humanity. You should listen to your mother. Sounds like she's a smart woman. Malcolm got lucky. He just got a glimpse into your soul when you let your mask slip. It is twisted under there. And cruel. For God's sake, harassing a dying woman? Really? And shameless about it no less. Lucky for him he saw that early on and hasn't spent years of his life with you. I'm genuinely confused why he hasn't made a clean break yet. Maybe he has and just can't be bothered to inform you. It's one thing for the OP to break up with Malcolm because she feels too young to help raise a child or be in a relationship with someone raising a child. But what an a-hole to think she has the right to interfere after just 6 months of dating. I think he has dumped her. I suspect get on board with this or walk away meant that if she didn't call with an apology, he was assuming she was walking away. You're the a-hole. You've been seeing him for a few months. That is his sister. It's not up to you to decide it is selfish for a dying mother to ask family to become a guardian. Honestly, you are not only selfish, you are asking a family you barely know to uproot a child who is going to lose her mother, to move that child abroad so that you can have your boyfriend all to yourself. Selfish, entitled, and arrogant all in one move. Fact is, this mother has a death sentence. She's not going to be around. He's stepping up. And it is absolutely nothing to do with you if he does step up. I'd be proud of someone stepping up at that age. Want to support them with it. The fact you don't shows so much selfishness. A 6-month relationship is not more important than his little sister who is going to lose her mother. Next story. Am I the a-hole for resenting that my sister was cruel about my pregnancy but is celebrating our sister's pregnancy? This involves me, 26 female, and my sisters Abby, 28 female, and Megan, 31 female. I had a baby at 16, which I know isn't great. But accidents happen, right? I do not think I was a bad person for this happening. I took responsibility and was committed to raising my son and being a good mom. My parents supported me as best as they could by babysitting and helping with finances, even though that came from my college fund. However, Megan, who was still in college but still living at home, made it clear that she was not supportive. She said she would not babysit or even watch my son if I needed to shower. She said she wasn't going to suffer for my mistake, which hurt me so much. Abby babysat for me sometimes and was happy to watch my son when I needed a rest. I badly wanted a baby shower and to feel celebrated even in a small way, but my parents said they could not help as they were stressed about the situation. I didn't have many friends, so I asked Abby and Megan. Abby was sympathetic, but Megan said she wouldn't help out at all. She told me that a teen pregnancy was not something to be celebrated. Abby just kind of followed what she said, and I ended up never getting a baby shower. I always kinda regret that because I doubt I'll have another child. Now I'm doing okay. I graduated from community college. I have an apartment where I live with my son, and I have a good co-parenting relationship with his dad. Abby announced her pregnancy some time ago, and her baby shower was this weekend. Of course I went. She made a little speech and thanked Aunt Megan for organizing the entire thing. Megan was so bubbly and happy and said how excited she was for Abby's baby. I got upset and quietly left to not make a scene. Megan came inside and asked what was up. I told her that I was hurt that she would do all this for Abby but nothing for me. She awkwardly said they were two different situations and I shouldn't make this a big deal in Abby's day. We got into it, and I ended up leaving early and Abby called to find out what was going on. I told her, and she felt pretty bad. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. No a-holes here. I hovered between that and not the a-hole, but went with no a-holes here because, while I think you are well within your rights to feel upset about it, 21-year-old Megan and 31-year-old Megan are probably very different people. You just can't fairly compare her actions as a college student to her actions as an adult. If Megan is still giving you grief today and not stepping into the Aunt Megan role for your son, then I change my response to not the a-hole. Thank you. Honestly, she has not really been an aunt to him. She does get him birthday and Christmas gifts. That will make conversation with him when we're all together, but doesn't really try to hang out with him or talk to him on her own. Abby's a natural aunt to him, and that she will take him out sometimes, just them. If she's already treating unborn baby as a blessing and celebrating it but is distant to her nephew, the favoritism is going to be very obvious later. No a-holes here. I am sorry that you missed out on so much excitement. Even when times are challenging, you still want milestones celebrated. Unfortunately, there are consequences to all actions and neither you or your sisters are in the same place now as you were then. Having a baby at 16 is extremely different than 28. And throwing a baby shower is something a 31-year-old does, not a college student focused on schoolwork. Your son is not a mistake, but getting pregnant was an accident. Sometimes it's hard to celebrate accidents. All you can do now is focus on the good you have. This entirely. Teen pregnancy is different than adult pregnancy, and college student aunts are different than adult aunts. Especially if said student is aware she'll be sharing her home with a baby, since Opie said Megan was also living at home while studying. She even might have felt she was punished for Opie's choices. We're always more judgmental about things that directly affects us after all. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling a girl just because she had a crappy husband doesn't mean everyone is? I, 36 male, met my wife when we were 14, started dating at 16, and still together now. I know that doesn't always work for people, but it worked for us. This weekend, I was hanging out at a friend's house with a bunch of people. There was a girl there who is a friend of one of my friend's girlfriend. We'll call her Jane. I don't know her that well, but I see her around often because we are in the same friend circle. Drinks were flowing, and somehow the topic came up about how many person everyone has slept with. Jane was shocked when I mentioned I had only slept with one person. Context: Jane also married her high school sweetheart. They broke up when she found out that he had basically cheated the whole relationship with multiple women. One of his piss-poor excuses was that he hadn't had a chance to have fun or play the field yet before settling down. Anyway, she couldn't believe I have only slept with my wife, and said that I must have cheated. I told her even if I had, why would I admit it? I've been with my wife since we were 16. Admitting to it would mean admitting I have cheated, which I haven't. And in response to that, she just said that must mean that I have and I'm lying about it. At this point, I am getting annoyed because she's straight up accusing me of being unfaithful. She said she knows from experience how unlikely it is. That's when I said that just because her husband was crappy doesn't mean we all are. She just mumbled a whatever and was quiet for the rest of the night. I was talking to my friend the next day who said her girlfriend told him how upset Jane got over that. She apparently said that I know what she has been through and could have been more understanding. I said I understand what she's been through, but she doesn't need to put her wishes on me and basically accuse me of cheating. My friend said he understood, but probably would have been best to just leave it. Am I the a-hole? Nope, not the a-hole, but Jane sure is. She pushed the issue. You shut it down and now she's butthurt. Too bad, so sad. Not your monkeys, not your circus. You don't owe her an apology, and your friend needs to shut up. I mean, my friend was mainly just echoing what his girlfriend was saying. I don't think he cares either way. Maybe not, but either way he needs to shut up. He's wrong, his girlfriend is wrong, Jane is wrong. They're all a-holes here and you are not. Not the a-hole. Some people have a romantic partner their whole lives. Jane may have had a rough time, but her projecting that onto OP and trying to accuse him of cheating was not cool. She should apologize to him, and not the other way around. Not the a-hole. Jane kept accusing you of cheating in public. No, basically about it, and you shut that down. You wouldn't have had to do that if she hadn't brought up and pressed the issue. How could you have been more understanding or left it without leaving her accusation hanging unaddressed? The general consensus seems to be that I could have just denied it, that I didn't have to bring up her experience. My response to that was that I did deny it, but she didn't drop it until I mentioned her ex-husband. Mission accomplished if you ask me. Exactly. You didn't stir anything up. She did by continuing to push. She refused to drop it until she got an answer she didn't like. People like your friend are the worst. They want to score points as peacekeepers, but always at your expense and never their own. If they're not willing to defend you, then they can shut up about you defending yourself. Instead, they want you to tie your arms behind your back so you're easier to hit. That's toxic just for your information. You're allowed to defend yourself with the same energy being thrown at you, especially after you first tried to defuse the situation. Stealing this because I always have a hard time explaining that people are too cowardly to stick up for someone. Then they don't get a say on how that someone sticks up for themselves, especially if they aren't in the wrong.